Hey guys, welcome to Sarah's Jewelry Studio. So today I am working on a Tree of Life pendant that I'm going to make using items from the Potomac Beads Treasure Edition that I just got. So I'm going to turn this camera around and just show you what I'm working on. I'm just kind of winging it. I don't really have a plan other than I know I want to make a Tree of Life and put the little hanging beads on there. So I'm going to explain all that when I turn the camera around. I just want to say that's what I'm working on. Okay, so stay tuned. Alright, so I already did a little bit of prep work here to get ready to do this Tree of Life pendant. So what I have here is a piece of memory wire, and I basically just did a little loop on this one side going the one direction, and then a loop on the other side going in an opposite direction. So that way they hook together. Okay, and you can use a 20 gauge wire to do this, but I like the memory wire because it's already pretty stable and makes a pretty good circle. You can see it's slightly oblong at the moment, like right up here, but once we start wrapping these other wires around, I feel like it'll become more of a circle. And honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's totally okay. Alright, so then I have 8 pieces of 22 gauge wire here. You could use 24 gauge wire also, which would be a little bit thinner, but I went ahead with the 22 gauge wire because these leaves are a little heavier. Okay, so if you're just doing, you know, like chips or, you know, smaller beads, then, you know, you could use the 24 gauge wire. So like I said, these are about 6 inches in length. I'm not positive that that's going to be long enough, but we're just going with it. Like I said, we're just kind of winging it. I don't have an exact plan, but that seems to be, well, about, yeah, 3 times the length of the circle. So I think we'll be okay, but we'll see. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of put these together, and then what we're going to do, we're going to twist in the middle to make the trunk. Okay, so we're just going to give these a twist. Now the if you were to use the 24 gauge wire, that would make this part a little bit easier, because being the 22 gauge wire, it is a little tougher to do. So I'm not going to do a big twist, okay, because I don't want to use up a whole lot of my circle, and some of this is going to get untwisted as we start separating these out. Okay, so as you can see, I'm already going up into the twist now. Okay, so I'm just going to spread these out a little bit. Okay, so then what you want to do is you can go ahead and what do you call it? Twist these in sets of 2. Okay, and these are going to be like the roots that go over from the branch over to the edges of the circle. Okay, so you're just going to twist these off. It doesn't matter which 2 go together, it really doesn't matter. So you don't have to have an exact plan of how you're going to work this. Freeform is a good way to do things. Okay, so I actually don't have a full plan in mind already. I'm just kind of winging it. So I've been looking at these things that I got in the treasure box yesterday and trying to decide what I wanted to work on, and this was the first piece. This is the first piece that I'm actually working on. I have some other ideas that I've kind of put together, like I have these 2 came in the collection, and I found this piece here, so I think I'm going to put those together somehow, some way. I haven't figured out exactly how yet, but that's a plan right there. So just been doing some brainstorming and figuring out how I want to go with this. Alright, so there you go. So there's the base of my tree. Okay, and then these would be the branches on the top. Okay, so kind of like this. Alright, so, and then you can twist your tree trunk down a little bit. Okay, it doesn't have to be in a straight line. You can twist it up a little bit, which is what I'm going to do. So just however you want to work is whatever is the best for you, and however you think it looks good, then that's what works. Okay, so I'm just going to give this stuff a little bit of twist now before I get it into the circle here. Alright, so basically this is kind of what we're looking at here. Okay, now like this one, I feel like I twisted that down a little too far, so I am going to untwist that a little bit. And I'm going to kink these up a little bit more, actually. because we all know that roots don't grow in a straight line for sure. Okay, so we're just going to kind of do that. I'm going to spread these out. Alright, so what we're going to do, okay, is get these in there. Okay, there you go. I feel like that looks like a pretty good root system right there. So we're going to lay this in here like so. Okay, and then I'm just going to wrap each of these branches around this bottom ring. Okay, so I'm going to do it probably about just like that. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this outer one here. I'm just going to bring that up and I'm just going to wrap it right around this. And that's all we're going to do with all of these bottom rounds. Just wrap them around. Now that I'm starting to do this more, I feel like the 24 gauge wire might have been a better option still, even though it was with the heavier leaves, which I think is going to help with the branches. But this part, my fingers already don't like me. So see how these are kind of spread out? I'm just going to give it a little squeeze here, try and tighten that up a little bit. My pliers have seen better days. These are the only ones I've ever had that have the coating on them. Might be time to get another pair. So it's the very first pair I got when I was very first learning and didn't know what the heck I was doing. So we're just going to chop off this little edge. Actually, I'm going to use... Well, I guess I'll use these. I'll just fold in the rest. It doesn't quite get in as close, but we'll just give that a... Alright. He's coming in. Alright, I'm going to have to use these because I just did not get in close enough. There we go. That's a little better. I'm going to give that a squeeze in there. There we go. So that made that pretty good. You want to make sure that that's not super pointy sticking out there. Okay. Alright, so we're going to move on to this next one here. And the same thing, we're just going to give this some spins around that bottom, and then we're going to cut off the excess. I'll try and keep these tight together. Okay, when you're cutting off little pieces of metal like that, see how I put my finger over there? You want to kind of block that so that way it doesn't like shoot up into your eye, which would be terrible. So anytime you're shooting anything metal, unless you want to wear some safety glasses, which I don't. So, or I guess if you wear glasses, but even still, it could still shoot in around the side or under your lens. So, alright, so there you go. So there's the first one all wrapped around there. And this still has kind of a point to it. I'm just going to take a little file to that, just because it's still a little pokey. Alright, so here we go. So there's the front. So we're going to move on to these next set of roots. Okay, so there's my first set. So we got these next ones here. And we're going to come in with these right here. I want to make sure I leave myself enough room to get my wire in through here. And we're going to do the same thing for all of these going all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this, stop the video, otherwise this is going to be a very long, boring video. So you get the idea at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and then I'll come back once I get all my roots done. Alright, so I have all of my bottom wires all wrapped on there now, so you can see that. And then I did go ahead and twist up my middle part a little bit. You can see I bent it around a little bit, and I got all my wires. They're all facing out on the front side of my hoop here. And we're going to go ahead and, actually, that used to be the front. Now I'm on the back. Whoops. Alright, well, guess it didn't really matter, but I liked it that way. So I'm going to pull these wires through. Alright, so let's go ahead and pull those through. Okay, so there we go. Look at that, problem fixed. Alright, so you're just going to spread these wires out. Okay, so like I said, we have 8 of them here. And so you can either leave them out as is, just individually, or if you want to make your branches a little longer, you can go ahead and, let me show you what that looks like totally. So there you go. Let's get that out of here. So you could wrap these together a little bit, but I want to try and get some leaves on here, so I'm not going to do that, just because I don't know exactly how this is going to work out. Like I said, I'm just kind of winging it. So what I'm guessing I'm going to do is, so these are drilled like this here, okay? So, but I want the leaves, I don't want them to be sideways, sorry, I got the hiccups. But I want it to face to the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down a little bit. I got to make sure I leave myself enough room here. Like this, right? And let's give that a little twist. We'll see how that looks, okay? Oh, where'd my wire go? I lost my wire. There she is. Alright. So we're just going to see how that looks. And that looks like it goes down a little too low. So my leaves touching down on my roots. So I don't want to do quite that much. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up a lot higher here. Okay. So I think that's looking pretty good right there. Okay. And then I think I'm going to try and come in here with one more on this branch, like right about here. So let's go ahead and slide one more of these on there. I didn't even double check to see if these leaves fit on this wire before I started. Oh, that's the wrong wire. So I'm glad that they fit, because that would have been sad. Alright, so another thing that I have here, and I'm going to do one on this lower branch. Oh, once I get this in there, there we go, is I have these cute little bird charms here. Okay, it's a little tiny bird. Okay, and what I want to do is I'm going to hang one of those on the front of this leaf right here, so it sticks off of the leaf. So you see it's like just like that. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do here. And then I'm just going to pull this up and back and around this wire just to kind of hold this leaf in its place so it's not sliding all over. Okay, just like that. And then that's going to be it for this one. So that's going to be it for this branch. So I think this is starting to turn out pretty good. Okay, starting to see my vision come together a little bit here. So we're going to raise this up and we're going to put this in right here. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing like we did on the bottom. We're just kind of winding this wire around. And actually, because we're at the top, I want to wind it down to the underneath, just because I have more room there. Alright. So like I said, I didn't really have an exact plan, just kind of winging it. Here we'll see where it takes us, where the creativity flows, and this is what I got. So it looks like my wire was not too short, which is a good thing, and it wasn't a whole lot too long either, so that's a good thing also, because I was afraid I was wasting a lot of wire, but looks like it's not very much waste that I'm going to be cutting off, so that's not too bad. Alright, so what do we think? So then as we start building it up, they're going to kind of start to overlap a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and just snip this off while we're here, because I like that. We're going to keep it. I'm not going to change it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that before I start building up here, because I feel like it's going to be harder to get in here once I start adding more leaves on, more layers on. So I think this is going to be a fun little project. Alright, so there we go. So that's how we're starting out here. So I think I'm just going to build up a row and then maybe go to this side and start on the bottom here and then build up a row up to the top and just see what we have here. So basically it's going to kind of build it out. So this might end up being a little heavy, but we're just gonna go with it. Alright, so I'm going to check back in a little bit and show you where I'm at with my progress. Alright, so here is where we're at. I have 3 more left to go, and you can see I have a couple of rows going on here. So if you look at the back, you can see more what's going on. So I have 2 leaves on this one, 1 on there, 2 on there, 2 on there, 3 on there. So we're making progress, and I think it's turning out pretty cute. So I like how there's a lot of dimension to it. You can see all the leaves are all going in different directions, and it's, you know, got that 3D effect going on where the leaves are kind of hitting on top of each other. I do want to put at least one more bird in here. I'm thinking maybe I might even just hang one right here. Well, maybe right in here. And just kind of hang it by itself. Let's see if it gets lost in these leaves here, or if it sticks out. Yeah, alright, that's not gonna work. It doesn't just kind of sit there on its own. So that one's just gonna have to go on top of a leaf here. So let's go ahead and slide this guy on. Like I said, this is all just kind of, you know, been as I get to it, we just kind of see how it goes. So I did twist a couple of the branches together as I got to the top, just to kind of, you know, build some more structure in here, so you can see right in there. I've kind of twisted those together. So yeah, see, now the bird's sticking out more. I like that better. All right. So there. So it's still kind of in an oblong shape, but honestly, I don't think that really matters at this point. Just because I feel like you get the point at this point. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a circle just to show that it's a tree. So I think that is looking pretty good. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get one more leaf over here. I don't think I'm gonna get another bird in here. So maybe just the 2. But I kind of want to see if I can get one more, maybe right over here. You know, maybe right up. No, it's got to really be over on this side for it to kind of be balanced. So it's just kind of a little inside peek into my creative process here and how I decide how things are going to look. So just going with it. I've just been looping the wires around the back of the leaf just to kind of hold it in place there right where it's at, so it's not sliding around. So you know what, I think I might even, let me see, is that going to be too much if I put one more leaf on there? I don't think it will be. I think we're going to go with it. So I'm going to wrap this around once just to kind of lock this in here, and hopefully I don't run out of wire here. But I think I'm gonna put one more out here. We're gonna see how this goes. I might be running out of wire, but we'll see. Like that, and see if we can put a bird but facing the other way on this one. I think that looks pretty cute. Oops, sorry, let me get you on the screen here. That's looking pretty good. Kind of don't like that they're in a row, but I also kind of like it. So we're just going to go with it. Alright, I'm going to come in here and wrap this around going up here. And luckily I still do have enough. Alright, I can't really get my fingers in there to go around a whole nother time, so we're just going to cut it off right there. Just like that. We're going to squeeze that down in there. Yeah, I need these. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to use these here and just kind of spin it around a little bit. Alright, there we go. So here's where we're looking now. So this is just a really fun piece. I don't know, you know, that there's a big market for a very leafy Tree of Life pendant, but it's, you know, something fun that I like. I think it's a fun piece, so I like it. I think it's different. I've definitely never made anything like this before, using leaves in a basically literal manner of making a tree with them. But this is a lot of fun. I do want to make a pair of earrings with these also, so with these beads, so I think that's going to be cute. So I'm going to do that as well. Can't get that one through. There we go. Alright, like I said, we're just kind of building up as we go along here. So there's another one. Alright, sorry, my camera cut off on me there. Alright, so we're back here. So I was busy looping this one around here. Just gonna come around the back of the leaf. Just secure that one in its place there. Alright, so there we go. So here's how we're looking. That one is a little crooked. Let's face that a little more to the front. So there we go. And I feel like we need to do one more right beside there just to kind of fill it out a little more. You know what, we have some space here, so I think we're going to come in here, right? Just loop this a couple times and then add another leaf right on top on the same wire. I'm take my pliers here and just pull that tight. There we go. Just gonna slide that down in together, just like that, and then throw another leaf right on top here. So just make this a little more full, which we want the leaf to go this way though. All right. So we're definitely getting this looking pretty full on here. So this, I think this is fun. What do you guys think of this? You don't have to like it. It's definitely not something that would be for everyone. It's just a fun, quirky piece. Oops. Alright, there we go, getting that through. We're almost done here. We only have this one last branch. And I just have this last little circle here to fill up, so oh, get up here. I lost my wire. There it is. I think it's looking pretty fun myself. It's basically gonna kind of hang like that. That's hard to see at this angle, but I still think it's gonna be good. Squeeze that over. Pull this back around. And we're gonna go ahead and snip that off right there. Alright, and I'm going to smooth that down. Okay, so we have one last branch here to fill in, and then this pendant is going to be done. Just going to put that on a chain, and then that will be that. Alright, so we're going to come over a little bit, and then kind of bend that there. That's about where I want this to be. Oh, that's a little tight. You know what, we might just take this up to the top and just fill that in, just that one on this branch right here. So I think we're going to do that. So let's take this back off. We're just going to loop around the outer ring once. Oh, there we go. And just do it right there, right on that ridge. Because we got to use the same wire to come around again. So I don't want to waste a bunch of wire and then not have enough to get the rest of the top filled in here. This is the home stretch. So I want to make sure I fill this in so it looks full. Okay. I'm just going to see how all this comes together. So I think that, well, let's see if we can slide that down a little bit. Right there. And one more right up here at the top. Just go ahead and wind this on a little bit just to hold that in place. Right there. Go ahead and pop that through one more time. Like that. I'm going to come out the front and add on one more leaf, I think, here. And then wrap that one in, and I think we're going to be done. Okay. Alright, so here's where we're at. Here's one more leaf. I think we're going to wrap around one more time just because I don't want that bird to be hidden. So I'm going to wrap over one more time just to get up a little further up. There we go. Now we're at the center. If we angle it that way, then it angles away from the bird a little bit. There you go. So now it sticks out. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks real good. Alright, so we got that one in there. So let me go ahead and loop around the back of this leaf and up and over. Now I'm really starting to run out of wire here, but we still got this. We got this. Alright, let's go ahead and get that back down in the position there. Make sure we're not covering up the bird. Come here, little birdie. Got my bird stuck sideways. There we go. There we go. Alright, now we got everybody facing the right way. Where's my wire? Here's my wire. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. The little birds in there. Alright, so once I get this on a chain, I will go ahead and take a picture and post that here at the end of this video, just so you can see the final look of how it will actually look laying as a pendant, not staring straight down on it, which is hard to see how it's going to hang that way. Let me get this last little tail tucked in here. Need to roll that around one more time at least. That's, well, at most, because I am out of wire. That's all she wrote. Alright, so there we go. There's my Tree of Life pendant. 3 little birds in there. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to go ahead and put this on a chain and put it on a display form and then take a picture of that so you can see how it actually hangs. Alrighty. Oh, and I'm going to add a jump ring right in there so that it sits right on a chain. Okay. Alright, stay tuned for that. Alright, so I'm adding on my chain. I just have just a spool of chain here. And I was going to, I figured I'd make it about 18 inches, right? So I was looking at my clasps and I found this and I was like, oh, that's so cute, right? So it's like a tree. Like I thought this would, just add that little fun to it. Like it's such a big pendant that it would, be fun. But guess what? This does not work with this. So I'm not sure why. And I had two of them, two sets. Why these are together, like they would go together, but it does not fit. So I'm just going to still use this, and I'll just use just a lobster clasp. So, and then it can just hook together like this. Why not? So, when you come across a problem, well, you just might have to get a little bit creative. So, I'm just going to go ahead and put those on. And remember, when you're doing your clasp, which I'm sure everyone knows except for the new people, because I was new once and I didn't know in the beginning, make sure you twist those rings apart so that you're not pulling them apart. So you take one side and you grab the other side. There you go, and you just give it a little twist. Okay, make sure you leave it open enough that you can get whatever it is that you're trying to get in there into there. So you just grab that. We're gonna grab this. And there we go. And I already have the pendant loaded onto the chain here. Get that little twist back. And you just want to make sure that they line up good. And they do. So makes it nice tight there. And if you feel like there's a gap, then you can just give them a wiggle towards each other. And then that usually tightens that little gap up if there was one, which I didn't see one. I just wanted to show you that. Alright, and then we're going to just put this other side on, and then this will be done, and then I'll put it on a post, and then I'll show you. Alright, so here we go. So here is the final look at it, hanging up on a neck form, and trying to work out the lighting so it looks at the right lighting. I think that looks pretty good right there. So yeah, so it's all done. I think it turned out cute. Maybe a leaf or two too many. If I had to do it again, maybe I would take out like this leaf right here and maybe this one here. Just feels a little bulky. And maybe not put this bird up here and maybe put that bird right there. If I was, to rework it. Maybe that's what I might do. But honestly, without having a plan and just kind of going for it and just wanting to do something whimsical, I think it turned out really cute. Let me know what you think in the comments. So this was like a half a tutorial, half a just a, let me show you what I'm doing. But I think it turned out cute. So if you have any ideas that you want to share with me in the comments, I'm definitely open to that feedback. And I thank you for watching and have a great night.